thinking about relocating, well, you're in the right place.
Yeah, it's a big decision. Lots to consider.
For sure. And these days, you got to think about how eco-friendly a city is, right?
Absolutely.
So that's what we're going to deep dive into today.
Love it.
We're going to be looking at some awesome insights from this circular economy expert, Andrea Mejía.
Oh, yeah, she was featured on that Eco Planet Life podcast, right?
That's the one. So get ready. By the end of this, you'll have a whole new way of looking at potential cities.
You'll be able to make that decision with all the eco-friendly facts.
Exactly. So what I found super interesting about Mejía,
Oh, yeah.
she connects this whole global sustainable city thing to our own lives, everyday life.
Oh, totally. She starts off by...
And she doesn't sugarcoat it.
No, not at all. She paints a pretty stark picture of what happens when cities are built on this...
On this what?
On this linear economy model.
Okay, linear economy, what's that all about?
So think of it like a one-way street. We take resources, make stuff, use it a bit, and then chuck it in the landfill.
Ugh, sounds kind of wasteful.
It is. It's all about just consuming more and more.
And cities are like the poster child for that, right?
Exactly. Mejía gives some really relatable examples, too.
Like what?
Like those overflowing landfills, the crazy traffic jams.
Oh, don't even get me started on traffic.
I know, right? Just thinking about it makes me stressed.
It's like city life is one giant stress ball sometimes.
Totally. And all that consumption, it has consequences,
Yeah, for sure. For the planet.
To the planet, but also for us.
Our mental well-being, all of it.
Exactly. And remember that great smog of London back in 1952?
Oh, refresh my memory.
So Mejía brings this up as a scary example of what can happen when pollution gets out of control.
Okay.
Like over 4,000 people died in just a few days.
Oh, wow. That's awful.
Yeah. All because of this thick smog that just blanketed the city.
It makes you think we definitely need a new model, a new approach.
We do, and that's where this circular economy comes in.
Mejía talks about that, right?
Yeah, she does. It's a powerful framework for change.
So how does it work?
It's actually pretty simple.
Okay.
Basically, a circular economy copies nature's cycles.
Okay, I like that.
Everything is reused, repurposed, or it breaks down naturally.
Ah, so it's like closing the loop.
Exactly. We're talking about designing things to last longer and to regenerate.
So it's not just recycling, it's bigger than that.
Yeah. It's about consuming less and rethinking how we design and use things in the first place.
I love that. So how do we apply this to a city?
Well, the cool thing is this concept can be applied to almost every aspect of a city.
Okay, give me some examples.
Like how buildings are constructed, how we get around, how we deal with waste.
It's like a whole new way of thinking about urban planning.
Exactly. And Mejía has some really inspiring examples of how this is already happening.
In real cities.
Yeah, all over the world.
I'm ready to be inspired. Let's hear about these circular cities.
All right, so let's start with Pontevedra, a city in Spain.
Pontevedra.
They did something pretty radical. They pedestrianized the entire city center.
Wait, so no cars at all? I'd think that would hurt businesses.
You'd think so, right? But actually the opposite happened.
Right.
They saw a 70% drop in carbon emissions. And get this.
What?
Businesses actually boomed, like a 20% increase in revenue.
Wow. So making the city more people-friendly actually helped the economy.
It did. But here's the thing.
What's that?
It wasn't just about changing the physical stuff. It was about getting the community involved.
Ah, makes sense.
They had town hall meetings, they listened to people's concerns, and they all worked together to create this vision.
So it sounds like they showed that sustainable choices can actually benefit everyone.
Exactly. It's about finding those win-win solutions.
I love that. So for someone like me looking for a new city,
Yeah.
it's not just about looking for green spaces. It's about digging deeper.
To see how the city involves its residents, right?
Exactly. To see how they're making those sustainable choices together
Totally. And that community buy-in, that's a big deal.
for long-term success.
For sure. Now, let me tell you about another inspiring story.
Oh, I love these stories.
This one's from Medellin, Colombia.
Okay, I'm listening.
There's this hotel there that was built using this concept of adaptive reuse.
Adaptive reuse. What's that?
So basically, they took an existing building.
Instead of tearing it down.
Exactly. And they remodeled it using as much of the original materials as possible.
Wow, so it's like giving the building a second life?
It is. And the result is this amazing hotel that minimizes waste and preserves a piece of the city's history.
That's incredible. Makes
Oh.
you wonder how many other buildings could be repurposed.
Right, instead of just demolishing them.
Adaptive reuse. Some have to remember that one.
It's a great strategy, especially for the construction industry.
Totally. Okay, so we've seen how this circularity can change buildings, but what about,
What about transportation?
yeah, especially in a city where everyone's glued to their cars?
Right. It's a tough one, but Mejía has some interesting ideas.
Like what?
Well, she talks about efficient shared mobility systems.
Okay.
Imagine less time in traffic, less money on gas.
And way less stress.
Exactly. And walking and biking more, it's great for your health too.
It's a win-win.
Right. And she asks this question, like, what would you do with an extra 3 or 4 hours each day?
If my city had amazing public transportation.
Oh, man. The things I could do. I know, right? I'd probably finally learn that new language I've been putting off.
Or you could just relax, enjoy the city.
That's true, too. It's crazy how much time we waste in traffic.
It is.
Yeah.
And imagine a city designed around this idea.
Less cars, more people.
Exactly.
So, as I'm looking at cities,
Yeah.
I should be thinking about the ones that prioritize walking, biking, public transportation,
All of that. And think about the time and stress you could save.
and what I could do with that extra time. Okay, but one thing that always stresses me out about cities,
What's that?
it's the waste, like the mountains of garbage.
It's a huge problem, for sure.
Is there even a way to deal with that effectively? Mejía tackles that head on.
All good.
She really doesn't shy away from the tough stuff, and
I like that.
she makes this point about how better waste management can create jobs.
Wait, jobs. Tell me more.
So there was this European study that showed that reusing municipal waste could create, like,
Create what?
over 600,000 jobs.
Wow. That's a lot of jobs.
It is. So tackling this waste problem, it's not just about saving the planet.
It's boosting the economy, too.
Exactly. And she uses this town, La Saja, in Colombia, as an example.
Yeah, what did they do?
They implemented this system for separating organic waste,
Okay.
which they then compost and sell, so it creates extra revenue for the city.
That's so smart.
It is. So it's not just about throwing things away.
It's about seeing waste as a resource.
Exactly. And it all started with people just being mindful about where they toss their trash.
So simple, yet so powerful.
Right. Small actions leading to big change.
Love it. It shows how individual actions multiplied across a city can really add up.
They really can. And you know what else Mejía talks about?
What's that?
Urban gardens.
Okay, I love the idea of urban gardens.
Yeah, and she makes this point that they're about so much more than just fresh food.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So she shares this really powerful story about this guy, Ezequiel.
Ezequiel.
Yeah, he's from a favela in Brazil.
Okay.
He was struggling with unemployment and feeling lost.
So what happened?
He found this purpose and this sense of community through urban gardening.
Oh, wow, I love that.
Right. So this project, it provides fresh food for the community,
Okay.
but it also helps with social cohesion and creates opportunities for people who have been marginalized, you know?
By violence and poverty.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing how an urban garden can be a catalyst for so much positive change.
It's all connected. And it's about looking beyond the surface, you know?
Digging a little deeper.
Exactly. Which is what we're doing here in this deep dive.
This is awesome. It's like we're peeling back the layers of a city to see its potential.
I like that analogy.
Speaking of hidden potential, I've heard this term industrial symbiosis thrown around.
Oh, yeah, that's a really interesting concept.
What exactly is that?
So basically, it's where companies within a city exchange their waste.
They're waste.
Yeah, they use each other's waste as resources.
Okay, now I definitely need an example.
Okay, so imagine one company's trash is another company's treasure.
Okay, I like that.
Mejía talks about Kalundborg.
Where's that?
It's in Denmark. And they're like the poster child for industrial symbiosis.
Okay.
So they've created this network of companies where, for example,
Yeah,
the excess heat from a power plant is used to heat homes and greenhouses nearby.
that's brilliant. So they're not just reducing waste, they're actually using it to benefit others.
Exactly. It's a closed loop system, you know?
I love that.
And it benefits everyone involved.
It's a win-win. So instead of paying to get rid of waste, companies could actually make money from it.
Exactly. It's a total game changer.
It really challenges how we think about waste.
For sure. It reframes it as an asset.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. So we've talked about buildings, transportation, waste, all essential parts of a city.
Yeah, what else is there?
What about water? It seems like every city I look at is facing water shortages,
You're right. Water is a critical resource.
especially in cities.
Absolutely. And this is where Mejía really emphasizes conservation and innovation.
So what are we talking about? Like rain barrels on every roof?
That's a good start, but
What?
she takes it a step further. She talks about this water recycling system.
Oh, wow. Tell me more.
So it treats wastewater and then reuses it inside buildings
For what?
for things like flushing toilets or watering plants.
So wastewater isn't just waste, it can be a resource.
Exactly. It's all about shifting our mindset, seeing the potential in what we normally consider trash.
I love that idea. Okay, but to make all these circular ideas a reality, it takes more than just technology, right?
We got it.
We need people, businesses, the government, all on board.
It's a big undertaking.
It sounds like it. So what does Mejía say about this?
She highlights three key things.
Okay, hit me with them.
We need public-private partnerships, policy reform,
And what was the third one?
citizen engagement.
Okay, let's break those down. Public-private partnerships, what does that mean?
So imagine businesses and government agencies teaming up.
Okay, I can see that working.
Like, imagine a local government working with a renewable energy company
To do what?
to create solar-powered charging stations for electric cars.
That's a great idea.
Right. Or a waste management company partnering with a local business to turn food scraps into compost.
Those are great examples. It's about leveraging each other's strengths.
Exactly. And these kinds of collaborations can really drive change.
I'm on board with that. Now, what about this policy reform thing?
Well, sometimes our laws and regulations are actually holding us back.
Really? How so?
Mejía gives this example of a hospital.
Okay.
They were legally required to incinerate perfectly good bed linen
What? Why?
because the regulations didn't allow for reuse.
That's crazy. So sometimes we need to update our laws to make these circular practices possible.
Exactly. And that's where policy reform comes in.
It's about removing those roadblocks.
Exactly. Now, what about us? The everyday citizens, what can we do?
That's what I want to know. Where do we fit into all of this?
That's where citizen engagement is so important.
Okay, I'm ready to be engaged.
We have so much power. We can support businesses that are doing the right thing.
Circular thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can vote for leaders who prioritize sustainability.
Okay.
We can get involved in local initiatives.
It's about taking action.
It is. And it's about making conscious choices in our everyday lives.
So it's not about waiting for someone else to fix things.
It's about being part of the solution.
I love that. And to help us really understand this on a personal level,
Yeah.
Mejía introduces this thought experiment called the 100 Objects Challenge.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
What is that exactly?
It's more of a thought experiment than a challenge.
Okay, tell me more.
Imagine you could only have 100 objects in your home.
Whoa, 100 objects. That's it.
That's it. What would you choose?
I don't even know where to begin. I'd have to get rid of so much stuff.
That's the point. It makes you really think about your relationship with stuff, with material possessions.
And makes you question what's truly essential.
Exactly. It's about fostering that resourceful mindset.
Which is the core of the circular economy, right?
You got it. And you know what else?
What?
We should probably talk more about this in part 2.
Oh, good idea. We've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
But I'm eager to hear more about this 100 Objects Challenge. We'll dive into that next time.
Sounds like a plan. All right, back to this 100 Objects Challenge. This is intriguing.
It really gets you thinking. So
Really.
imagine you could only live with 100 objects.
Only 100 things, like in my entire house.
In your whole home, yeah. 100 objects, what would they be?
Oh, man. That is a tough one.
I know, right? But that's kind of the point.
Okay, what's the point?
It forces you to really examine your stuff, you know?
Like, what do I really need? Exactly. What's essential?
Yeah.
And how would that change how you shop, how you consume?
I think it would definitely make me a more conscious shopper.
Less impulse buys.
For sure. No more random stuff ending up in my cart. And it would probably make me more creative.
Oh, yeah. How so?
I'd have to repurpose things, learn to fix stuff, instead of just tossing it.
Exactly. You start to think about those things.
It's like a whole new way of looking at your stuff,
It's about fostering that resourceful mindset.
which is at the heart of the circular economy. We've come full circle.
We have. It's not just about having less stuff.
It's about being more mindful about the stuff you do have,
You got it. And thinking about the whole life of a product,
from where it came from to where it ends up.
Exactly. Did Mejía try this challenge herself?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm curious to hear what she chose.
So she did, and
Yeah.
she admits it was tough.
Yeah, I bet.
Especially because she's a big plant person.
Oh, I feel that.
Yeah.
My plants are like my babies.
I know, right? But she didn't want to give them up.
So what did she do?
So instead of getting rid of them, she got creative.
Okay.
She realized she could propagate cuttings from her existing plants.
And make new plants.
Exactly. So she could stay true to the challenge,
And keep her plants.
and she could share the new plants with friends and neighbors.
I love that. It's like this beautiful act of community building.
It is. It's about finding creative solutions.
And rethinking our relationship with the things we love.
It's not about deprivation.
No, it's about resourcefulness and making intentional choices,
And that mindset shift can affect so many areas of our lives.
including how we choose where to live.
Right. It's not just about finding a city with a low carbon footprint.
It's about finding a place where this whole circular way of thinking is embedded in the culture.
In the policies and how people live their everyday lives.
You're getting it. Now, going back to Mejia's closing question.
The one about the city of the future.
Yeah. What would a city designed for well-being and regeneration look like?
It's a big question. What are your initial thoughts?
Well, it's definitely making me rethink what makes a city desirable.
Okay, how so?
It's not about fancy skyscrapers or trendy restaurants anymore.
What is it about then?
It's about things like walkability, green spaces, a sense of community.
Oh, those are all great points.
Like, imagine a city where people feel connected to their surroundings,
I love that.
where they can easily walk or bike to work, where they have access to fresh, local food.
And where they feel a sense of belonging
Exactly. It's about designing a city that nourishes people.
instead of just consuming resources.
I love that. For me, I'm picturing a city with vibrant public squares filled with trees and gardens
Yes, places where people can gather and connect.
and just be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And imagine the city is powered by renewable energy.
Oh, yeah. Gotta have that.
Solar panels, wind turbines, buildings designed for energy efficiency,
It's about minimizing the environmental impact.
and even going a step further,
Right.
regenerating, giving back to the planet.
I'm picturing buildings covered in greenery, almost like vertical gardens.
I love that image.
It would be beautiful, and it would help clean the air.
And create habitats for wildlife.
It's like bringing nature back into the city,
Exactly. Imagine stepping out of your apartment and being surrounded by nature.
even in the heart of the city.
Right. Okay, so we've got green spaces, sustainable buildings.
What about food? Gotta have good food.
This city would definitely prioritize local food.
Oh, yeah.
Local production, local consumption.
So less reliance on those global supply chains.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Imagine farmers markets everywhere you turn.
Ooh, I'm already drooling.
Fresh, seasonal produce grown right there in the city.
It's like farm to table, but on a whole new level,
And it supports local farmers.
and reduces emissions from transportation.
It's a win-win-win.
I love it. Okay, but let's talk about the less glamorous side of things.
What do you mean?
Waste management. How would this circular city deal with all its garbage?
That's a great question. Remember industrial symbiosis?
Oh yeah, the company's exchanging waste.
Exactly. The city would have a super efficient system for that.
Waste is a resource.
You got it. No more landfills overflowing with stuff that could be reused.
That's a whole different mindset, isn't it?
It is. It's about make, use, repurpose, not take, make, waste.
Love it. All right, now picture this. You're getting around this awesome city,
Yeah.
but instead of traffic, you're cruising on an electric tram or riding your bike on a dedicated path.
That's the dream.
Right. This city would prioritize those sustainable transportation options.
Public transportation would be amazing
Affordable, accessible.
and enjoyable.
I can already feel my stress melting away.
Right. It's about creating a city that prioritizes people, not cars.
And cleaner air.
Definitely. Now, let's not forget about technology.
Oh yeah, tech can play a big role here, can it?
For sure. Imagine smart systems that optimize energy use in buildings,
Okay, I like that.
manage traffic flow to reduce congestion, and connect residents to local resources.
So it's about using technology to make the city smarter and more sustainable.
Exactly. It's about tech, serving people, and the planet.
No more energy-guzzling buildings or frustrating traffic.
Yeah. Exactly. But remember, technology is just a tool.
The real key is people, right?
You got it. It's
Huh.
about the people who live in the city.
And that brings us back to citizen engagement.
Full circle.
It's not just about living in a sustainable city, it's about actively making it more sustainable.
You're getting it.
Yeah.
Imagine a city where residents can participate in things like budgeting.
Oh, I like that. So they have a say in how the city spends money on sustainability.
Exactly. It would give them more ownership and pride.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And I bet it would lead to more community-driven projects.
Like community gardens, recycling programs, neighborhood cleanups.
It's amazing to think about the impact those actions could have.
It is. And that's what makes this vision so compelling.
It's not just some utopian fantasy,
It's something we can create together.
step by step, choice by choice.
Exactly. This whole conversation.
I know, right?
It's making me realize that choosing a city is about so much more than just finding a place to live.
It's about finding a community, a place that reflects your values.
And a place where you can contribute, make a difference.
Beautifully said. It's recognizing that we're not just passive inhabitants of a city,
We're co-creators of its present and its future.
and that's powerful. This deep dive has given me a whole new way to think about cities.
It's not just about amenities and cost of living anymore.
It's about the soul of a city, its values, its commitment to the future.
And while no city is perfect, I think every city has the potential to move in this direction.
I love that. Every city has potential. And that change starts with us, the residents.
Making choices, advocating for change.
This has been such an incredible journey. We've gone from understanding the problems to envisioning solutions.
From a linear economy to a regenerative one.
I feel like my mind has been blown wide open.
It's all about shifting our mindset, you know?
From scarcity to abundance, from depletion to possibility.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole conversation so hopeful.
I feel inspired. Inspired to rethink my choices, get involved in my community, and be part of building a better future.
That's the spirit. And remember, even small steps matter.
So, as you continue your search for that perfect city,
Yeah?
think about these qualities we've talked about.
The circularity, the community, the well-being.
Exactly. And ask yourself, how can I contribute to making this city even better?
How can I be part of the solution?
That's a question we should all be asking ourselves wherever we live.
Absolutely. We're all citizens of this planet, and we have a responsibility to create a better future.
And before we wrap up,
Yeah,
let's transition back to those personal reflections.
sounds good. We can explore how all of this connects to our own lives.
In part 3. Okay, so we've talked a lot about cities,
We have.
but this whole conversation about circular cities and the 100 Objects Challenge, it's making me think about myself.
About your own habits.
Yeah, like all this stuff we've been talking about, it's not just out there in the world, you know?
It's everywhere.
It's in my own home.
It is. And that's kind of the beauty of it.
It's like a wake-up call.
It is, a little bit, yeah.
I'm suddenly noticing waste everywhere I look.
Where do you see it?
In my kitchen, in my closet, even in my digital life.
Huh.
Like, I have drawers full of old gadgets.
Oh, yeah. We all have those drawers.
Chargers for phones I don't even own anymore.
It's crazy, right?
It is, and it makes you think, what am I doing?
Exactly. And that's what's so interesting about this challenge. It's not just about getting rid of stuff.
It's about changing how we think about stuff.
Exactly. It's about seeing those old gadgets not as clutter, but as potential.
Potential for what?
Potential resources. You know, maybe they can be repaired.
Or maybe someone else could use them.
Exactly. It's about being more intentional.
Like a mindfulness exercise.
For your stuff.
Exactly. Instead of just mindlessly buying and tossing, I'm starting to ask myself,
What kind of question?
like, do I really need this? Can I fix it? Can I borrow it instead of buying it?
Those are all great questions. And you know what else you could ask?
What's that?
Could I make some money off this?
Oh, yeah. Sell it online or something.
Exactly. Or find a creative way to reuse it.
Upcycling.
There you go.
And it makes you realize every time we buy something,
Yeah.
it's like we're voting for a particular system.
Voting with your wallet.
Exactly. But to really make a difference, we need businesses and governments to change too.
We do. It's not all on individuals.
We need those closed-loop systems, right?
We do, like those industrial symbiosis networks.
Where waste is seen as a valuable resource.
Exactly.
It's about designing things differently from the start.
So there's less waste in the first place.
And we need policies that support that, right?
We do. Incentives for repairing and reusing.
Making recycling easier.
Holding companies accountable.
It's a big challenge, but also,
an exciting opportunity.
I agree. This whole conversation has been so eye-opening.
It's a lot to take in, right?
It is, but it's also empowering.
How so?
It's given me so much to think about as I'm looking for a new city to live in.
It's not just about the fun stuff anymore.
No, it's about finding a place that matches my values.
Values about sustainability, about community.
Exactly. A place that's working towards a better future.
And remember, no city is perfect.
They all have their challenges.
But every city has potential for change.
And we can be part of that change.
We can, by supporting the right businesses, getting involved in our communities.
Advocating for better policies.
It's all connected.
So it's not just about choosing the right city.
It's about making any city better.
And that's something I'm excited to do.
That's the spirit.
This whole deep dive has been incredible.
It has. We've covered so much.
From the problems to the solutions, from feeling overwhelmed to feeling hopeful.
And empowered. Don't forget empowered.
I'm definitely feeling that. I feel inspired to rethink my choices, get involved, and be part of building a better future.
That's what it's all about.
So, to everyone listening out there,
Yeah.
remember, the future is not something that just happens to us.
We create it.
We create it together.
Yeah.
And by working together, We can build cities that are not just sustainable,
But regenerative.
places where people and nature can thrive.
That's the dream.
Thank you so much for joining us on this amazing journey. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep asking those tough questions.
Because those questions lead to change.
And that's how we create a better world. Until next time.